Hey there, welcome back, Lancaster. It's Monday at 2 o'clock, so hopefully you all know what that means. It's Lancaster Connects time.
That's right.
Happy to be back here with you each week. We shine some light on the community, show off great people who are doing great things for Lancaster and the surrounding area. So happy to be back.
Man, middle of September already.
Yeah.
Can you believe that? Like,
Yeah, it's
school is
rocketing
3
by.
weeks in. Like, we're a couple weeks into football season.
10 weeks till Christmas.
Oh my gosh. No, that just blows my mind. That's like, oh my gosh, we got to start.
6 weeks to Halloween.
Yeah.
7-ish, 8-ish weeks until... Oh, no, I guess it's more like 12 weeks.
Yeah, the Thanksgiving and Christmas. Yeah, my goodness.
Either way,
it's going to fly by.
And the way holidays get promoted, like Halloween's probably out now. And,
oh, for sure. For sure.
By October 10th, we'll have Christmas stuff out.
Yep. I can start to see neighbors already starting to put out the orange, the pumpkins, the mums, right?
We have to get our pumpkin spice mattresses out.
Oh, where did we put those at the end of last year?
They're in the warehouse.
That's right.
We'll get them out. But we get them out every year. They're
Yeah.
fresh. It's like lay down in pumpkin spice goodness.
Man, when you bring those out and you just crack them open, the aroma that fills the showroom is just unbelievable. It's to die for.
Yeah. And ladies, you get a free pair of leather boots that come up to just above your calf.
Yep. I know which one you're
Dark
talking
denim
about.
blue jeans, a white shirt with a little collar and long sleeve, and then a vest of your choice.
Yep. Okay.
It can be black, it can be plaid, and then we might throw in like a variant beige brown in there.
That's the universal sign that pumpkin spice month has arrived.
Yeah. Or AKA the Han Solo outfit.
At least throwing the Star Wars reference in there. I love it.
Yeah.
Oh,
we kid. We
do, kid.
We kid. Don't take our dry humor to be, a knock on you or anything like that. It just, we don't plan any of this. It just rolls right off the top.
I think if you like pumpkin spice, so you know what's up, right?
Yeah. Pumpkin spice, everything. Candles. We might actually have some pumpkin candles.
I think you're right. From Milk House Candles.
Yeah. We love on our customers, and when our customers invest in a wonderful new mattress from us, you get a little parting gift, and that's intentional. And there's Vanna going to demonstrate for us. What do you have?
This is eucalyptus lavender. This is not one of the fall flavors.
That's a good flavor. I like how we call them flavors. I'm never going to call them scents. I just like flavors.
Our guys were walking around the showroom. John, one of our elite delivery crew members, I saw him sniffing a candle for an extended period of time, and it was the caramel corn candle.
That one smells like the fair.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, and it's fair season too, so make sure you get out to fairs.
Support your community.
Yeah, and check out everything that's going on, and maybe have a fried Oreo. Wash it down with a fried pickle, and then a milkshake.
That's right. You can have a little bit of everything there, right?
Yeah. I bet you there's fried kale. Our guest can talk about kale.
Yeah, he can talk about kale.
Yeah.
I'd probably
don't think
talk about kale.
Although I don't think our guest Matt would suggest frying it.
No, probably not.
Yeah.
Probably
But
not.
hey, it's time for our mattress tip. And because we aren't just two chuckleheads here coming into your internet feed making bad jokes. We co-own Gardener's Mattress and More, where we're broadcasting from. And so our mattress tip is this. It's our online price match promise. And so we have a number of vendors, Dream Cloud and Helix and Puffy and Nectar and Avocado Mattress, probably names that you see in your feed, especially if you're on this page watching us on a social channel or have been to our website or have talked about a mattress. Your handy dandy spy device is listening and it gets thrown into your feed. Well, all of those brands are running constant promotions. And as a premier partner, we complement those promotions. And so just set that aside and connect to our 5-star service. And that's our online price match promise. You essentially get their online price with our Lancaster famous 5-star service and experience, which we already talked about, the candles. You will get that. And, you get a far better curated, educational, knowledgeable, low pressure visit and we'll help you find the right fit. Maybe it is one of those brands, maybe not. You'll be that decider of it, but we'll give you that information and knowledge. And so that's our mattress tip for you this week, is to know you can shop with peace of mind here with our online price match promise as your favorite mattress store 16 years in a row. Our number one goal here is just help you find that right fit, help you find which of our products fits your needs. And, you can come in and present what you feel you're interested in, and we'll help you sort through that. Oftentimes it is, and then oftentimes it's not. And we'll make that less confusing and more easy. And that's our number one goal here. So that's our mattress tip for you this week.
Nicely done. Nicely done. So if you're listening and watching, you might know what Lancaster Connects is all about. If not, Lancaster Connects is a show where we highlight great people doing amazing things in Lancaster County. We're going to bring our guest on in just a couple minutes here. We've got past episodes on the Lancaster Connects website. That's lancasterconnects.com/episodes, or just land on the Lancaster Connects page. You'll see in the menu tab, episodes. Watch all the past episodes. This is episode 212. So there's 200 plus episodes on Lancaster Connects to watch. Great conversations with just awesome people in Lancaster supporting the community. And if you are one of those people, if you happen to be listening and you are somebody that works for an organization or runs an organization that gives back to the community, or maybe you're a small business owner that has an effort to give back to the community, we'd love to tell those stories. We need to know that you exist. So go to lancasterconnects.com/guest, fill out the simple guest form there. Tell us who you are, the organization, and why you'd be a good fit for the show, and we'll get you on. I think at the moment we're booked through almost the end of October.
Great work.
Even into November. We got a couple of veteran-themed shows for Veterans Day coming up here in November. But we are looking for guests in the last month and a half of the year, and of course into 2026. So,
Christmas is 12 weeks away. 2026 is like 13.
Goodness. So yeah, if you'd like to be a guest, we'd love to hear from you. LancasterConnects.com/guest, and fill out that simple form.
But let's talk about this guest. Ben, you have a great connection to our guest today. Why don't you introduce him?
Yeah, so our guest today, Chris, our producer at Cast Ahead Productions, is going to bring him on. We've got Pastor Matt Lenahan from Wittel Farm. Wittel Farm is a farm in the Elizabethtown area that, Matt, you're going to tell us about that, but I had the opportunity of volunteering, I and my family and the church that I'm involved with, Life Church, had an opportunity to volunteer with Wittel Farm, and got to meet Pastor Matt, and just thought it would be cool to bring him on the show and talk about what they do and the community give back from Wittel Farm. So Pastor Matt, welcome to the show.
Hey guys, thanks for having me today. It's great to be with you. Good to see you again, Ben. Incidentally, I think we did grow a spicy pumpkin this year. We sort of put together a hybrid pumpkin and a jalapeno pepper.
That's awesome.
So that you got the pumpkin spice at Wittel Farm. You can come out and enjoy the
Are you being
the
serious
hot
right now?
pumpkin. No, you can't do that. But it would be cool. We have some jalapeno peppers growing next to our pumpkin, so they're sort of spice adjacent pumpkins,
Spice adjacent pumpkins. I like that. No, I mean, I know you can like cross germinate seeds and stuff.
Yeah.
So I just wasn't sure if that was part of the process there.
It would seem like it could be done, but maybe someone's trying.
I don't know. I don't know if it's been tested yet, but we're willing to experiment. So we'll see. Maybe next year, 2026.
Yeah.
It's only 13 weeks away, right?
That's right. Yeah. Spicy pumpkin. That would be like a literal.
You wouldn't even need. Yeah, you wouldn't need pumpkin spice. It's right there. Right.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
All right, Matt. Let's learn about Wittel Farm. What is Wittel Farm? How to get started, and what do you do?
Yeah. Thanks for having me again today, guys. This is really great. Love what you're doing here for the community. So the Wittel Farm is an 85-acre property that was entrusted 42 years ago to the Lutheran Camping Corporation, which is the outdoor ministry expression of the Lutheran churches in the central Pennsylvania region. Probably about 220 congregations, Lutheran congregations. support the ministry of this outdoor ministry expression called the Lutheran Camping Corporation. The corporation has 3 properties, 2 summer camps, one in Adams County, one in Lebanon County, and then the Wittel Farm. The Wittel Farm, Wittel, is named after Chuck and Katie Wittel, who owned and farmed that land until, like I said, 1983, when they entrusted that land as a gift to the Lutheran Camping Corporation, with the intention that the Lutheran Camping Corporation would steward that land for spiritual and agricultural purposes when possible. So really, since that time, the land was largely used, shared as a retreat space for congregations and other faith communities to retreat on the land, enjoy the beauty of the land and the farmhouse. There's an old farmhouse on the land from the early 1800s it was built. But in 2015, I came to the Camping Corporation and encouraged them to consider starting a growing project whereby we would steward some of the land to put it under vegetable production to grow fresh vegetables for the charitable food system in Lancaster County. And the reason why I wanted to start the project was, one, we had this land as a gift to share with an agricultural purpose as its essential purpose. And 2, there was a gap, and there continues to be a gap in Lancaster County in the charitable food system around the availability and accessibility of fresh and local food for people who are food insecure here in Lancaster County. So you might go to a food pantry or food bank and you'll have a difficult time actually getting access there to fresh, locally grown vegetables that come right from right here in Lancaster County. And I think that that's something that we needed to explore and potentially address. And so I started the project in 2016 with the intention of growing a few crops and donating all the food that we grew to the Lancaster County Food Hub. They were our first partner and continue to be probably our first and best partner organization that we support. So all the food we grow is for food relief in the county. We've extended that to Lebanon County and serve Lebanon County Christian Ministries now as well. And over this last 10 years, this is our 10th growing season, we've grown well over 150,000 pounds of vegetables. We've expanded the kind of crops we grow. And of course, we've also expanded the number of food pantries and local organizations we partner with. And we welcome hundreds of volunteers to the farm throughout the growing season from really April to October to support the work that we're doing.
It's awesome. There's something great about getting your hands in the dirt, isn't there? And literally seeing things grow. If you choose to take the time to take it in, right, and not just, oh, I'm here because my company's bringing me here to volunteer, or I'm here with Sunday school with my friends. If you take that time to really appreciate what's happening right in front of you, it's pretty powerful, which that's a core mission of the work you're doing, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I think what's changed for me in my own sense of purpose around the work of the farm has been really to redevelop connections, have people reconnect with land and engage with the soil and with the plants, and come to experience and encounter what it's like to grow food together as a community. One of the things that we realize is that about 9% of Lancaster County's population is considered food insecure, and that's sort of USDA understanding of based on a household income, right? So if you're unable, based on your income level, to provide 3 nutritious meals a day for every member of your household, you're considered food insecure. And there's a way that that's defined by income level. But there's a larger, I think, problem that we're also seeking to address at the farm as a community based initiative. And that is that the majority of us are really disconnected from land and from the sources of our food. So the vast majority of us, even farmers in Lancaster County, are food dependent. We depend on externalized sources of our food in the kind of industrial food system that we have inherited, that was developed only in the last 60 to 75 years, really. A food system that has been very productive and in many ways has been able to, reduce hunger globally. But at the same time, there have been costs. And one of those costs is that most of us, the vast majority, over 98% of us in the United States, are not connected to agriculture in any real meaningful way. We take for granted that this food system is going to provide for us. And you go to the grocery store or the restaurant, the food you want is going to be available to you. But that food system, where a tiny minority of the American population, around 2%, maybe a little less, are growing the food for the rest of us. That food system, as we saw during the pandemic, is vulnerable to all kinds of different interruptions. Weather interruptions can affect food production. Along the way, you can have things like pandemics that might affect the processing and transportation aspect of getting food to where it's supposed to be. So, in 2020, sometimes you go to a grocery store and the food you were looking for was not there. And again, most of us aren't sure or don't really know where our food actually comes from anyways. We just take for granted that it's going to be there. That sort of food dependency makes us really pretty vulnerable, I think. And I think it's also crazy. I mean, most of us eat every day, right? I mean, most of us eat 3 meals a day. Everybody eats. And so we all have a stake in what our food system is like. And we all have a stake in where our food comes from and how it's produced. And so really what we're trying to do now is sort of invite people to come to the farm for a kind of immersive education in what it means to become part of a food system together again as a community. Wouldn't it be amazing if Lancaster County decided together that we would become locally food independent or interdependent, meaning that we acknowledge that most of our food comes from where we live here in Lancaster County. There are other parts of the country that are doing that better than we are. There are places in Vermont that are pride themselves on sort of made in Vermont, locally fresh made. And we have that capacity here, right? Like there's tons of food produced here every year. There's lots of farmers markets, but we really want to make it so that everybody has a sense that they have a stake and not only an interest, but have the potential to be a partner and really get involved in their own food system. Whether you're growing a garden in your backyard or you're coming to Wittel Farm, a community farm where we're growing on acres of land, we could expand and have thousands of people in Lancaster participate in the work that we're doing there to grow food together. That's really one of my goals, actually, to get more people to come out.
That's awesome. I wanted to make mention of 2 things. You mentioned Lancaster Food Hub. Ironically, they are our next guest on Lancaster Connects. So I think that's the 22nd, Monday the 22nd. So we're looking forward to having that conversation. So I'd like to hear a little bit more about that association. But I do want to back up to something you said initially, that this land, which is a special place, my family and I got to volunteer there. My family... or my kids, I don't think had ever been on a farm before. They know that crops are grown. We have a little garden plot at our house, but it's nothing like an 85-acre farm, right? My kids were there. They're not in this picture. I think they were already in the car. I don't know. But just for them to be able to see and everybody that goes there, I mean, this land was gifted. And that's I think rare in today's world. There's a lot of money, right, involved when a farm owner can sell the property to a developer and then a bunch of houses are put up, right? That's not what happened with this farm. Obviously, it was gifted. So maybe you could talk a little bit about that. But this plot of land was made for a special purpose.
Yeah, and I do want to, thanks for acknowledging that. I do want to acknowledge that Chuck and Katie Wittel were Lutheran Christians who gave this farm as a gift as an expression of their Lutheran Christian faith. And I feel a responsibility as a Lutheran pastor, as a person of faith myself, to steward this land that was a gift, and so to continue to steward that land as a gift to the broader community. And so I think it's important first that we recognize the significance of that gift to the Lancaster community and to the Lutheran Church as stewards of that gift. And also, one of the things that the Camping Corporation did was we partner with Lancaster Farmland Trust. And if you haven't had Jeff from Lancaster Farmland Trust on your show before, I would commend him to you and them to you. Lancaster Farmland Trust is the organization in Lancaster County that is responsible for preserving farmland. To date, I think they've preserved, it's somewhere upwards of 400,000 acres of farmland. The Wittel Farm, we had it preserved with Farmland Trust back in 2021. And that just ostensibly says that this farm is protected from development to be in a place of that retains its agricultural heritage and continues to be a place where the land and the land ecology is protected in perpetuity. So we're grateful for the work of the Farmland Trust. We think they're an amazing organization doing really important work to conserve and protect this precious farmland that exists here in Lancaster County.
So with that being said, obviously having that protection and support from Lancaster Farmland Trust, there's still a reality of cost of having this land.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's things that you don't necessarily want to get into here, but how has the Lutheran Camping Corporation handled that? I mean, just from a tax burden on the land, I would imagine, just because you're a church and a nonprofit doesn't mean you're impervious from paying taxes on land. Right? Do I have that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. And so what pressure has that applied over the years? And have there been ways to mitigate that? Or is that just something you have to accept and the tax bill goes up like it does for most every year?
Yeah. I think that has been a challenge for the Lutheran Camping Corporation as a nonprofit extension of the Lutheran churches. A fairly sizable portion of the tillable farmland has been under hay production for many years. And so there have been farmers who have rented that land to produce hay for themselves and for their own farming. And so some of the tax burden is offset by the rental fees. But I think until we started the growing project in 2016, the farm was always annually kind of in the red financially because of the tax burden. But because of the growing project and the way we've been able to generate public interest and engage more charitable givers, both within the Lutheran Church and outside, this project has really, I think, been an important way of creating greater sustainability for the Camping Corporation around their care and protection of this farm. Also, there is when a farm is preserved, there is a price per acre that is there's the Farmland Trust fundraises monies to purchase the easement for that farm. So there's some funding that comes from that has allowed us to expand and develop the project over the last few years. So again, really grateful for them. But yeah, I mean, one of the real challenges that we're facing today, for example, is that, the Lutheran churches, even though there's a couple hundred Lutheran churches in central Pennsylvania here, they've been in decline as a denomination. And so there are fewer people that are connected to these churches. And even 40 years ago, the Lutheran churches were a small minority of the general population in Lancaster County. And so one of the things that I think is important to me and to us is that, this land is not meant to be exclusively Lutheran or the kind of tribalism of the sort of denominational history is something that we're working to address and move past, right? So, we're really thinking about the whole community benefits in many ways from what we're doing with Wittel Farm. And we really want to engage the larger Lancaster County community, both the faith communities in Lancaster County. For example, I have a great relationship with Sha'arai Shemayim Synagogue, Rabbi Jack, downtown Lancaster, and they bring their day camp to the farm every year. We're really thinking expansively about who's involved with us, what is the benefit to the larger community. And, part of that benefit is, like you said, Ben, bringing kids and adults to the farm, sometimes for a first time experience. Even this summer, I'd say the majority of people that came to Wittel Farm, in a kind of anecdotal polling that I do, the majority of people who came have had no experience at all of actually being on a working farm in their lives. And so we're kind of shifting that sort of paradigm, right? Of like coming and being part of what's happening on this farm, on the land, is not sort of agritainment, if you will, like you can see in some places, but it's really about I think reconnecting people with the gift of this land and what we can produce together to share. And I always tell people, when you're there and there's something that we're harvesting, go ahead and eat it while we're there. Take a bite, enjoy some of those tomatoes, or try this cucumber. Everything we grow regeneratively, so it's like chemical free, organic, without the official organic label, but it's chemical free and grown in such a way that you can eat it right off the vine. We really want people to have that kind of sort of tactile, kind of sensual experience, right? We're really working on expanding this project to invite and include as many people from Lancaster County and a surrounding area as we can. And we're hoping that together we will be able to not only raise more vegetables, but through our efforts, we might raise more awareness to the challenges of agriculture and why we all should be involved in it in some way.
Pastor Matt, can you talk a little bit about the volunteers? Obviously, it's a big project to plant, maintain, harvest these crops. So you need really an army of volunteers. Maybe we could talk about how somebody can be a volunteer and what they might do on a farm. I know when my family was there, you had just planted tomatoes. We were tomato staking. I nearly knocked myself out with one of the devices to do the tomato. That's a fun story in and of itself. And I know my kids were like sorting lettuce, I think, in one of the barns. But those are just two of probably hundreds of tasks that volunteers could do throughout your growing season. Sure.
So we're typically welcoming volunteers on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. And if you're interested, you can go to the website. There's a Sign Up Genius page. You click on that. You can sign up to volunteer. Volunteering will come to an end by probably the end of October this season. And we'll start up again in late March, early April. And, every season is a little different, but there's typically almost every time a volunteer comes, you can expect to plant something, harvest something, tend a bed and maybe prepare a bed for planting. We had some kids on the farm from Brightside Opportunity Center. Their STEM camp came to the farm in July, and on that day we were restarting a new vegetable bed. They were seeding that bed, and they were also harvesting a whole lot of crops. So on a given day, there's lots of different activities. You might be working in our compost area to help us to compost material that we're receiving, whether that's food waste or green grass clippings, or so some people might be involved in that. You might be involved in, again, harvesting, at the end of the harvest, there's also sort of boxing and prepping the harvest to go out for distribution. So I like to give volunteers an opportunity to do a variety of things when they're on the farm in a given day. So any given day, you might be doing a bunch of different things, from planting to harvesting and boxing. But I also encourage volunteers to think about coming multiple times. Don't just come once, but come once a season, right? So come in the spring when we're planting seeds in our greenhouse. Come in early summer when we're planting in the fields or when we begin harvest. Come in late summer when we're in full harvest mode and harvesting a lot of vegetables. Come in the fall and see what it's like to finish the harvest and put these beds to rest for the wintertime. I think that sort of rhythm is also really important that we want people to experience, because these seasonal rhythms are meaningful, and they can teach us some things about our own lives. Like, I was
just going to say,
yeah,
if you ever connect that through a more lesson, here's the meaning of things through the farm, through the land, through the work. I was just going to ask that question.
Yeah. I mean, one of the, I think, most significant things that we're learning and teaching all the time is the seasonal changes and seasonal rhythms of the life of the land. And, in the wintertime, the land rests. And there are ways in which we can grow some things in the wintertime, especially if you're working in a high tunnel greenhouse system. It can extend your growing season into, November, December. You can start earlier as well. But we've sort of, kind of backed off from a 4-season kind of working experience. We're really operating as a working farm 3 seasons of the year. And then in the wintertime, we're really supposed to rest. So honestly, it's good to take some time and just be on the farm. So sometimes I'll just go to the farm in the wintertime on a kind of retreat and sit inside at the fireplace and maybe think a little bit about and reflect on the year we had and start to think about planning for the year that is to come. But that seasonal rhythm, I think, is really important, because we're a culture that doesn't actually respect those kinds of seasonal limits of life very well. And so it's good to say, there are days of work, there are days of rest, there are seasons of work, there are seasons of rest. And for me, that's really an important part of both of my faith as a Lutheran Christian, and it's an important part of my farming as well. So.
Yeah. Pastor Matt, I wanted to ask you, you started this about 10 years ago on farming this land. Do you have a background in farming? Like, how did you get the knowledge to just start planting stuff and see it through to a harvest?
Yeah, so I did grow up on a large fruit and vegetable and cash crop farm in central New York, and that farm was at one time was a cash crop business that included a dairy. The dairy was sold in the late 70s, and my family, my dad took it over from his dad, who had inherited it from his father. So I was really the 4th generation at the Lenahan farm. And, we were a conventional farm. So deep tillage, chemical fertilizers, synthetic fertilizers, chemical herbicides, pesticides, row cultivating of, diverse crop of vegetables through the 1980s and early 90s into the early 2000s, when it was clear to my family that I wasn't going to stay on the farm, but I actually left the farm. I had no intention of farming land ever again. I was, I had that. I knew what that was like, and frankly, didn't want to do that for the rest of my life. So I left the farm. I've also believed I was called into ministry as a Lutheran pastor, and so I went to school for that. And it was really this was not my dream job. This was not something I was planning to do. But as I got involved with Lutheran outdoor ministry and with my congregation as a charitable food site, and recognized that even in Lancaster County, this kind of food productive agricultural place, this garden spot, there was this gap. People who were food insecure couldn't get access to enough fresh local food. That sort of drew me to this relationship with this land at Wittel Farm. And again, when I started in 2015, 2016, I didn't know that we were going to be doing this for 10 years or longer. I also didn't know that we were going to be shifting from conventional ag practices to regenerative practices. I knew fairly soon that we didn't want to, I was really opposed to chemical agriculture. So the costs of chemical agriculture, both on the front end to the farm, you have to pay it costs a lot of money to purchase chemical fertilizers and sprays, but also the cost to the land itself, to the land ecology. So we started down a path of sort of chemical free right away, and then have been evolving over the last 5 to 7 years toward additional regenerative practices, building compost that we use on our farm, making permanent no-till beds, reducing the amount of tillage, and using a variety of cover crops to keep the land covered and the soil protected, and to feed the land by keeping it planted and covered all the time. So we've kind of I've been learning about regenerative agriculture, sustainable or organic agriculture for the last 5 to 7 years. It's been a learning journey for me. A lot of people have said, well, why don't you get an expert who knows what they're doing? Are you connected with, Penn State Extension or whatever? And yes, we've had conversations, but it's been really important for me to think about myself as an amateur farmer and somebody who's a learning practitioner, because I want other people to have the same kind of curiosity that I have about this kind of work, and to invite them into the learning process with me. So, like, for example, this year, I've gotten very excited about the microbiology of compost. And most people are maybe not super excited about, the microbes in their compost that they're building. But that's been exciting for me to see as we've been learning how to make more and more compost at the farm. And I want people to experience that same kind of excitement, curiosity, sort of the newness of learning that I'm experiencing on the farm all the time. This year we had 7 or 8 different species of butterflies. And it was just like this amazing, we've had these new native bee species emerge at the Wittel Farm over the last 5 years. And that's largely because we're creating this healthy ecosystem, this healthy habitat for these other insects. So that's for me, that's awesome. That's one of the things I love about working on the farms. I'm learning and experiencing something new almost every time I'm there. And I want people to sort of experience that new kind of learning as well, and experience that curiosity. Because if I can learn how to do this, I think we can all sort of learn how to do this together.
That's awesome.
A couple things. And then I do want to get to, we're farming, we have volunteers, we come, we harvest, and then, how do people connect to this food that the farm grows for those that need it? But 2 things. One, just as you mentioned, the butterflies and the bees, maybe you're aware, maybe not, maybe there's some resources and help within Lutheran Camping or the organization. But I know for a fact that there are federal grants for those with land who are supporting bees, supporting butterflies and things like that. So maybe that's another income driver to help sustain the farm. I'm just putting it out there. I'm also putting it out there to those listening and watching. If you know how to connect those dots and you are good at getting those grants, maybe that's how you give back some of your time, talent, and treasure. In this case, not treasure, but your talents and time. And, maybe you connect with us, maybe you connect with Matt here. All the contact info is going to be in the show notes, but I just wanted to put that out there in the universe that is something that exists. And then second, I grew up on farm as a kid to the age of 11 up in Canada, moved here when I was that age. And being what would have been a 4th generation farmer, I have a very intentional reason to ask this question. Did you ever see crop completely destroyed by hail, flood, or anything growing up?
Oh, of course. We had flooding losses.
And what did that mean? Yeah.
Well, certainly it meant a loss of income. It really meant that there were sacrifices that had to be made. By the time I came to the farm, as we're growing up on the farm, we did experience, the occasional weather phenomena, whether it was a major storm, a hailstorm, flooding, drought. And you're always, trying to manage those conditions. The challenge now has been that I think now we're having to manage extreme conditions more as the norm, right? So over the last 2 years at Wittel, we've experienced both excessive rainfall and drought in a single season, right? So this year, we had almost 22 inches of rain in about 9 weeks, and between May to early July, and then we had practically nothing for the last 6 weeks. It's been really dry again. So, those are challenges that we're facing now. And agriculture, both globally and in the United States, acknowledges that these extreme weather circumstances, extreme heat, drought, excessive rainfall, flooding, these are more prevalent as a result of climate change. And so agriculture is under more pressure today than it was even 40, 50 years ago, I think, in some ways. Yeah. I will say that the challenges that my family faced in, making an annual living and a sustainable living, and it required a lot of adaptability, right? Like my family farm had to sell the dairy in the late 70s and transition to a more diverse vegetable crop system. That was a choice they made out of necessity to address the challenges in agriculture that were prevalent in the late 70s and early 80s. So, farmers are probably the most adaptable people you ever meet, because if you're not adapting all the time, you're not going to be able to farm. So,
and I would say faithful.
Yeah, sure. Right. Sadly, my parents had to sell. They ended up selling the farm to the other half of our family, who eventually liquidated. So my family's no longer farming. I'm the only one that's actually farming at this point in the Lenahan family. But my parents have been really very supportive. I love it when my dad comes and can hang out and help out on the farm. It's really important to me. And my sons, I have 3 boys. They've all been part of what we've been doing at the farm over the last decade. And it's been important to me too, that it's kind of a family thing. We're doing this together. So.
That's awesome. Yep. So Jeff brought up the connection to where the food goes. So you mentioned Lancaster Food Hub. I think 100% of the crops that are grown on Wittel Farm are donated to local organizations. Let's talk a little bit about how that happens.
Yeah, that's right. So the first year we partnered directly with Lancaster County Council of Churches, which then became the Food Hub. And since then, we have worked with a number of partner organizations, from Elizabethtown Community Cupboard, which is a small pantry in Elizabethtown, to Ephrata Area Social Services in Ephrata. We have worked with congregational feeding sites like Ebenezer Baptist Church in downtown Lancaster, who do amazing feeding work every Wednesday. There's a woman, Mrs. Cunningham, who is 100 years old, and she's there every Wednesday cooking in that kitchen to feed hundreds of people in Lancaster City. So we're grateful to partner with them and share some of our fresh vegetables with them. We've worked with Water Street Ministries, Power Packs, again, the Lancaster County Food Hub, CAP, Community Action Partnership. This year, the last 3 years, we've worked with Lebanon County Christian Ministries to bring fresh produce to downtown Lebanon. And both the Food Hub and Lebanon County Christian Ministries are both sort of like places where individuals or households can come to receive food, but they're also hubs where other charitable food organizations can get access to food to share in their place. So, for example, you might be a congregational feeding site in downtown Lancaster, and you go to the Food Hub to pick up a supply of food that you'll use in your community meal that night. So when we bring food to the Food Hub, we know that some of it's getting packaged as a grocery order for a household that will come to the food hub that week, but it also is going out to other charitable feeding sites in the city and county who can then utilize those vegetables in their own way. So that way, we're also hitting on places, locations, and charitable food sites that we're not even really aware of those partnerships, because they work through these larger hubs in both Lebanon and Lancaster County. Yeah. We also work with Central PA Food Bank, and we've had years where we've had thousands of pounds of tomatoes, and we can't actually donate 70 boxes of tomatoes, 1,400 pounds of tomatoes to Lancaster County alone. So the Central PA Food Bank, which services 27 counties, will send a box truck and we'll put a pallet of, 70 boxes of tomatoes on a box truck to the food bank in Harrisburg. And those vegetables will go out pretty quickly to, a 27 county region. So, our work extends beyond Lancaster County, but we also like to work closely with local partners. And that way we feel really that we're connected to people in the community, and we're connected to organizations that are really committed to this work here in Lancaster.
Yeah. I love the interconnectedness of it all. You have the direct connection of people who come to the farm. They get to taste the food, which, on our farm, I loved pulling the fresh peas right off the plant. Like, that was the best. And chewing the pod because it had a sweetness to it. And then you spit out the stalk. Like, that was my favorite thing as a kid. That and the wild raspberries that we had. But I love the interconnectedness of it. And so for anybody listening, like, again, if you're food insecure, I don't know if coming to the farm directly is an option to volunteer and get something. I know some of the other charities have that, but certainly reaching out to Lancaster County Food Hub is a great place to start, because it sounds like they can directly take an order for you and get you some food, or they could connect you. Maybe if transportation's a problem, they could connect you with a local church in your backyard, or a local other mission like E-Town Community Cover, which is funny because I think, were you thinking what I was thinking?
Yeah, it's where we were donating food.
We donated from our Gardeners Gives Back efforts, where our customers give a box or a can of food, and then we get it to local kitchens. And one of our former employees, his wife used to manage that. Melissa Rhodes, if that name sounds familiar.
We worked with Melissa for a number of years. Yeah, she was great.
Yep. And so the interconnectedness of it all, it's when you're tuned in, it's all there. You just have to be tuned in, and we hope that this show provides that ability to dial up the channel and tune into it. So
that's right.
Yeah, I think that, for me also, the ability to make these connections and to bring people together has been really powerful. I think people are looking for that. So when we can find ways to bring different people together, we always have these experiences where people in Lancaster know each other, or they have relationships that precede their time on the farm, and then they get to the farm and they're like, "Oh, I didn't know you were coming," or, I didn't know you knew about this. And so building those connections has been really important. And then I'd like to think of what we're doing as sort of like creating a local food ecosystem, right? Where we're trying to connect with a lot of partners who are engaged in charitable food work. And what's meaningful to me about the charitable food system is that I think food is meant to be a gift. The land has been a gift, but then we really want to make sure that people experience food as a gift. I mean, when you're not feeling well and somebody brings you a meal, some comfort food, something you love to eat, or something special that they made just for you, that is something that people love to experience. People love to give food. People love to receive food from others. And that gift experience, that exchange, that reciprocity, I think is really powerful in human relationships. And, our best experiences often happen around a table where we gather with family and friends to enjoy a meal together. And I think for me, and as a Lutheran Christian, we gather around a table every week that's kind of like where we experience God. We experience God in food. And so for Lutheran Christians, food is how we experience God's love. So, whether you believe that or not, we all eat and we all love to eat certain things. And we all love to be recipients of food from people who care about us, whether it's grandma's applesauce or chicken pot pie. We all know what that experience is like. And it's those connections, those powerful relational connections that I think are important and can happen for people even at the farm, where you're like working together and you're harvesting this food together. And I love to see people carrying, the bushel baskets as a team, and kind of working together with, young children and adults working together in a space. People who didn't know each other when they got there become friends while they're working together side by side. So it's cool.
That's awesome. That's so cool.
I know we're coming to the end of our time, and I know we want to share some of the events that are coming up and what your vision is, but I just kind of want to plant this seed. I really think our world, especially by 2030, is going to need places like yours to disconnect from the fuzz of being such a connected society, the matrix-like, algorithmic-like, doom scrolling, react because we don't even know why we're overreacting society we seem to be becoming. So I think your farm in your land, you've used the word stewardship so many times. We could do a whole show just out of the concept of stewardship of self and our gifts and our talents and what we see. I think your land can become that place where teens can come to drop the cell phone and realize there's a whole other life out there. And there's a whole other way of how food gets to your plate that you didn't even realize. Corporations can come and stop the hierarchy of the corporate ladder and just like, you got to lift this big bushel of corn together with a person who you've been butting heads with for 6 months. Oh, and then you got to lay out 10 rows for potatoes.
Yeah.
Together.
Right.
I think that's something that could be really impactful for people, for the land, for your mission down the road. So just to plant that little seed, to unplug from the fuzz of life that I think is just going to get that static that infects our soul and our brains coming up. Just that was me pontificating and planting a little seed there. But you've got some great events. I don't know what you think of that. I'll pause and let you, rather than adding more fuzz.
I think you're spot on. It has been a place where young adults and youth have come, and we're not on our phones. We're engaging together. There's something inherently human about working together on the land in relationship with this piece of land and with each other. And we've gone away from that. Like I said, the majority of us have no connection to land, and we're struggling to have good connections with each other. So, I think we can do both really well when we create this space. We have this space where people can come and put the phone away. Your political affiliation, your religious affiliation, all that goes away when you come to this place where we're really enjoying a day on the land, noticing and observing this beautiful habitat, see what's growing, experience things growing, and harvesting food that we get to share. Food transcends any other boundary, barrier, or division that exists because we all eat. Once again, I have to remind us that we all eat. Maybe it's because I'm hungry because I didn't get to eat lunch yet today. So,
well, we got to wrap up and let you do that, Matt.
You have 45 acres of field behind you. You can just go out and grab a tomato.
Yeah,
but no.
Hey, let's touch on your events. I know you've got a harvest event coming up. You've got Christmas night in the barn, I think you do, and maybe you can even share some other events you might have going on in 2026. Go ahead.
Sure. Thanks. Ben. So the next one is October 18th, Saturday, October 18th from 10 to 2. We're going to have a harvest festival. There'll be hay rides, pumpkin decorating. There'll be live music. There's a lunch provided that'll be really fun. And we're going to cook right there in our pavilion. We have a beautiful pavilion space that allows us to gather people. So that's coming up on the 18th. You can sign up on our website for that. And then at the end of the year, sort of the last event that we have had over the last, I think this will be our 5th or 6th annual now. We have an Advent Christmas night in the barn. So inside the barn, we have this beautiful evening of festive music and the readings of from the Christian tradition around the birth of Jesus. So we welcome people to come and be part of that. It's a candlelight service in the barn. It's about 45 minutes to an hour. There's always hot cocoa and cookies right afterwards. This past year, it was somewhere around 9 degrees when we did it in 2024. So we're actually hoping that it's a little bit warmer this year, that maybe if it's 20 degrees, it would be easier to play my guitar with unfrozen hands. So,
oh gosh, yeah.
So that's it.
9 degrees and strumming. That's not,
so that one,
work.
Yeah, that one is the 4th Sunday in December at 7:00. So the next one is October 18th, 10 to 2, Harvest Festival, and then Christmas in the Barn is the end of December at 7:00.
That's awesome.
Very cool.
Hey, anything we didn't touch on that you'd like to touch on about Wittel Farm or about the Lutheran ministry or anything as we wrap up our time here?
Just again, that Lutheran outdoor ministry is really there to serve the whole community through the Wittel Farm and through our camps. Also, I didn't mention, but I think it's relevant, we've been developing some really good connections with the local colleges, with E-Town College in Millersville, and I have some students from both colleges who are connected to the farm now and are serving on the farm or working on the farm as part of their work study or part of a program of study. We're really interested in developing more of those relationships, both with local colleges and local school communities in the year ahead, because we think it's a great opportunity to share this land, this place, as a place of learning with other students in Lancaster County.
That's awesome.
Great. Wonderful. All right. Well, is it time to learn a little bit more about Matt?
Yeah, this is going to be a rapid fire connection cocktail session.
Yep.
You want to kick it off?
So as you're farming or relaxing, do you have a favorite book, podcast, or TV show that you're enjoying?
Right now, I'm sort of digging Smartless, the guys on, the Smartless podcast. I listen to that sort
Will
of like...
Arnett,
Yeah.
Jason Bateman.
Yeah, Bateman, Arnett, and Sean.
Yeah.
And that's just like a kind of like a guilty pleasure sort of thing I'll listen to when I'm at the farm by myself sometimes. Fiction. I read a lot of fiction. I'm reading a novel right now called God of the Woods by Liz Moore. That's pretty good. It's actually about a summer camp, and it's kind of a neat story. But I would say in the summertime, I got hooked on the author Matt Haig, who wrote Midnight Library and several other books. And I read most of his books during the summertime this year. And I'm sort of in between TV shows right now. I guess we're kind of watching Only Murders in the Building season 5.
Okay. And that just came out, right?
Yeah. The new season just came out last week.
Yeah, no teasers. I haven't started.
Okay. I won't share.
Watched the other 4, but not this one.
Martin Short is still there. So in case you were worried.
Okay. Okay. Good. Yeah. All right. Question number 2. Dream vacation. Where are you going?
Well, I honestly, we've had a couple really great dream vacations already. We were just in Italy. My son was in Italy in the spring semester of college. And so we went and visited and would spend a lot of time in Italy. My wife and I were there. It was amazing.
Cool.
But I think the next dream vacation for us would be Ireland. I'm of Irish descent, and my family has spent time in Ireland. I've never gone. And so it's a place we've been, thinking about for a long time.
That's cool.
Very good. Nice. All right. Wrapping this up. your favorite local spot in Lancaster. So this could be a little eatery, a cafe, something entertainment, a hidden gem.
Oh man. So my wife and I have, and I don't know if this is a hidden gem. It's probably not, but our favorite restaurant, I guess, is probably El Serrano's on Columbia Avenue.
Yeah.
We've been going to El Serrano's forever. We love their food. We love the atmosphere there. But
Talk about food made with love.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I got to give a shout out to Lidditz because I live in Lidditz. We live in the Lidditz area, and like anywhere in Lidditz is cool. So the park, Greco's ice cream, Do-si Do for coffee, Aaron's books to get a new book. We love our town. And so I just want to say there's lots of cool places in Lidditz to hang out.
Very cool. Very cool. And we agree. We agree. Pastor Matt, this was awesome. Thank you so much for being on Lancaster Connects and sharing the ministry of Wittel Farm. And I think it's amazing what you're doing with
100%
solving food insecurity for folks here in the Lancaster community. So thank you for what you're doing, and thank you for being on Lancaster Connects.
Thanks so much, guys. This was a lot of fun. And Ben, you got to get Jeff to come out with you next time.
Yeah, we should do a gardener's trip. Drive some tomato steaks into the ground.
Yeah, not your forehead. Like you almost.
Gosh, I almost knocked myself out with this thing.
Matt, thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Really appreciate your time and what you do there. Thank you.
You bet.
Have a great day. Yep. Oh man, we like blew right past 3 o'clock.
Blew right past. All right, well, we'll do our sleep better tip very quickly, and it directly relates to what Pastor Matt had said. Do work with your hands throughout the day. You'll sleep better at night. Get active. Be active. If you're stressed out, get active. Take a walk. Do a workout. Get to the farm. Pick some vegetables.
Yep.
Get to your backyard. Pull some weeds. Right? Get active. Get whatever is built up out of the body so your body can truly relax at night. My guess, I don't know what kind of mattress Matt and his wife sleep on. My guess is with their work, they probably sleep pretty well. Not to say they don't have stresses in life. I don't want to speak for them, but my guess is just knowing what their body of work involves in a day, they probably hit the pillow pretty worn out and their body is ready to be refreshed.
Yeah.
And I think we as a society forget that our bodies need to work, legitimately work, not the stresses of social media, not the stresses of gossip, not the stresses that we build up to be important that really aren't each day. Our bodies need to dispel the energy it creates. It needs to work and it needs to be restored. And so if you're looking for great sleep, do some work in your day, physical work, physical steps, physical activity. It will help you sleep better. I don't know that that's specifically in the book. It just kind of came to me as I was thinking about what our sleep better tip might be for this show. But if you want more of great tips off the top of this brain, you tune into the show. If you want the ones in the book, we'll send it to you, gardenersmattressandmore.com/sleep-better.
That's perfect. That's perfect. And so true. Working with your hands is really important.
Yeah.
So quick testimonial time for Gardener's Mattress and More, the company that brings you Lancaster Connects. This was a handwritten testimonial from Jim and Barb. Thank you, Jim and Barb. They just said their experience was amazing. We've recommended gardeners to all we've talked to. Your customer service and care is the best, in all caps, in Lancaster County and all surrounding areas.
And since we're repurposing this moment in perpetuity, there are the handwritten words.
They are. They're right there on the paper.
That we get in 2025. Of course, you're not going to read them as I show them to you, but Ben just gave you the distillation. And I think that's special. I think it's special in this day and age that our customers take their time and even use their stamp, which a stamp isn't that expensive, more expensive than they used to be.
No.
But they are using their stamp, which means they're taking some time and using a stamp to share their words back with us, which speaks to the experience we give to our customers. And that's in a way, our customers saying that, not so much me saying it, because as we're showing you on the screen, many people send us these kinds of reviews. Actually, I think if we really look at it, we have more of those. I know we have more,
thousands of these.
We have more handwritten reviews than we do online reviews. And so that just speaks to what we do and how we treat you as our customer. So we're eternally grateful to get these reviews, but we always continue to deliver the experience and the goods, so to say.
It's funny seeing some of those old testimonials, like cartoon Ben up at the top. We haven't used cartoon Ben in a long time.
Hey, we've got cartoon Ben for Halloween.
Oh, that's true.
He's going to make an appearance. We need a cartoon Jeff. We just have to do that.
I think we need a redo on all of them.
Yeah, just as we did our photos. We'll have to redo those. So anyway, this has been a great show. We're into overtime. We're into overtime like it took the Cowboys to beat the Giants, of all things. Anyway.
We went 65 minutes without you bringing up football.
Almost did it. Just couldn't help it. Either way, go Bird, go 3-0. Chiefs Kingdom 0-2, wondering what's going on. Maybe Taylor can write a song about it. Either way, we'll see you next week on Lancaster Connects.